Hi, I'm Caitlin Blakely, and today I'm going to be talking to you about prostitution. So, for this meeting, I will be using prostitution and sex work interchangeably. While sex work does encompass a lot of different things, for this purpose, I will be using it to represent prostitution as well. So, today we're going to talk about some main points about what prostitution is, different types of prostitution, some predictors of future employment in sex work, some stigma, risk, and laws in the United States. So, what is prostitution? It's engaging in sexual activity for money, gifts, drugs, or any interchangeable item. And there are different types of prostitution. So, there are call girls, boys, or people, escort, brothel worker, massage parlor worker, bar or casino worker, and then the streetwalker. And while the streetwalker is the most represented type of prostitute in the media, it is actually the least common type of prostitution. And most prostitution happens indoors. So, some predictors of employment are childhood poverty, abuse, family dysfunction, limited education, or employment experience, and then drug use. And while some of these are predictors, they don't have to be met for someone to become a sex worker. None of them have to be met for someone to become a sex worker. So these are just some common predictors, but it's not always the case. Some stigma that is associated with prostitution is the misconception that only women are prostitutes, and this isn't the case. There's men, there's transgender people, there's all different types of people who partake in prostitution. While women are the majority, they are not the only ones. In the past, they've been referred to as the others, and they are still referred to as predators or deviants. And some risk include health risk, poor working condition, violence, sexual harassment, police harassment. So, and they also are denied social rights like healthcare or justice or protection. And so, for a lot of cases, health workers have a high risk for STIs like HIV. And a lot of this is due to the policing of condoms. So, police officers often use condoms as evidence of sex work, or they'll confiscate the condoms. So a lot of sex workers don't carry condoms with them because they have a fear of being arrested. And also, police workers have been known to harass and sexually assault sex workers before arresting them. So there's a lot of problems with justice and protection, and as well as healthcare. So some laws in the US, there are federal and then there are state laws. There are a bunch for each state. Each one has different laws, and you can look at that at this resource here. There are different punishments for the worker and customers, and it varies between states. And Tennessee is actually one of the few states that criminalizes the customer harsher than the worker, actually. And interestingly, Nevada actually has legal prostitution. They have brothels, and they do have a lot of regulations. But I thought that was interesting that Nevada does have legal prostitution, and this picture is actually one of the brothels in Nevada. So thank you, and here are my resources if anyone is interested in looking into it more.